Hi there. This first video is a basic tour, a general overview of how this website works, an introduction. Um, I will try not to include too many details because it would get to be a really long video. And also, I'll have something to include in forthcoming help videos. So, the first thing you encounter is this header section, which we'll come back to at the end, because the main way that you'll interact with the website is through these three buttons: people, operas, and books. So if you're interested in searching for a person to see who taught them or who they may have taught, then this is where you enter their information. So let's say you're looking for a favorite singer. Let's say one of your favorite singers is Jamie Barton. And let's say, for the sake of argument, that you don't know how to spell her last name. So you could just type in Jamie and click search. And this brings up 4 search results for Jamie. And there she is. So we'll click on her. When you do that, you get this visualization window. And we'll talk about that. You also get these instructions about how to manipulate the things within that window. So we'll come back to that in just a second. You also, so you see it in this fancy thing to play with, but you also get it in straightforward text down here. You get more details. So here's the information that we have cataloged about Jamie. We strive to catalog these pieces of information about each of the singers, and we also strive to show you where that information came from. So there's also Spotify tracks for those artists that have those, and so you get the singer profile, and then you get, in this case, teachers, and we know of 2 teachers who taught Jamie, and the source of that relationship was in an operaamerica.org article. If you searched someone who also had taught students, there would be a teachers panel and also a students panel, and maybe other ones depending on their relationships to books and opera premieres. And also family members, like if their parents taught them, or they have a opera singer sibling, those things are also noted in a family panel. So if we go back up here, you can see that these instructions here, you can drag them to reposition them. You can zoom. You can also, and zoom is kind of funny. If you put your mouse over here, it's going to zoom like, whoa. And then you can also move this whole visualization within the canvas by dragging it. So yeah, so you see a node and then this relationship. And in this case, the only things we know about Jamie are that she's been taught by people. And so that's the label that this relationship has. But other nodes, you might see other relationships. So premiered role in, for example, or parent, as we were mentioning before. So yeah, so you can drag them around. And if you right click on a relationship, you will also see how we know that same relationship source that was detailed down here. So if you wanted to, you could, if you're interested in Ms. Hart, you could click this, and then it would say, oh, it would start by clicking on a person down here. It starts a new search, and it shows that same information. If we had more information about successful students of Professor Hart's, they would show up here too. When you change something about the visualization, you get this back and forward buttons. So there's no forward to go, so that doesn't work. But if you go back, then we get where we were before. If you double click a node, that will do the same thing as what we just did, which was to start a new search on that person. And that's what we just saw. Great. So that's a person with relatively few noted relationships, but we could go to, you'll see a great variety in the numbers of connections. So if we searched Antonio Cotogni, who was a really famous, important teacher of the early 20th century, then we see a much bigger graph. He has, as you can see, 75 students that we've noted and 2 teachers. Same kinds of information over here. Yeah, so then, oh, and then you can see if you want to, yeah, so like here's Beniamino Gigli. You could click on him, and if we do a double click on him, we'll start a new search on him. We'll see who else taught him. The direction of the arrow shows that, and then who he taught. We can go back like that. So that's people, sort of generally speaking. If you start a search through Opera, like let's search Rigoletto, we can see a different, and you can just drag things out of the way if they're in your way. We see a few different relationship labels, like premiered role in and wrote for Verdi. And many of these, if you right click on the relationship, you get different information. So in this case, premiered role in, if you right click there, you see which role it was that that person premiered and the source of that information. And so he was the first person to sing the role of Rigoletto. And if we, here's where it starts to get really fun. If we single click him, we can see more information, including that he premiered a role of Giorgio Germo in Traviata, and the role of Macbeth in Macbeth, and that he taught someone. And so you can extend the graph. You can just keep on single clicking to expand as you want. So that's operas. Then books, it's the same. So books, let's just search Bel Canto, because lots of books have that in their title, and we see many. And then if we click this one by Burton Coffin, here's that information. And then if we, so we started, like this was the subject of our search, but if we search, if we wanted to say, expand Burton Coffin, we could make him the subject by single clicking. And then we see a bunch of his books, and also, yeah, his students and teachers. Okay. The last couple of things we'll talk about in this video are this header section. So buttons will appear here and disappear as you have need for them, but buttons that should always remain are 1, the Help Center, where you found this video, or where you will find it, and the other videos I have yet to make. And you found information about the project itself, the colors, that disclaimer that you clicked through but hopefully read, and some acknowledgements. And then there's also a log out button. And I just want to mention this, that at the beginning you created a username and password. So just for your assurance, I am able to see your email address, but not the password that you provided. And there's a mechanism to reset your password on that login page. And what that allows you to do, having created a username, it allows you to bookmark and save your visualizations so that you can come back to where you left off. Right, and then finally, a link to PayPal. So if you are so inclined to help support this website, I invite you to use your QR code or click this link and make a small donation. Thanks.